Let me know if you could see that. Hold on, I'm pulling up chat here. You can see it. I see a hand raised. All right, good. So everyone can see this. All right, so we're going to start. And again, if you have any questions, you can always ask them in the chat there, and I will be more than happy to answer. So if I'm assuming that the hand raises are you saying, yes, you can hear me and see my screen. All right, so this webinar is going to be on how to optimize your site for maximum conversion. All right, so making sure my mic's good here. All right, so tracking is the first thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to your website. And this is a fun little picture if you saw this movie, but tracking is one of the things that is heavily overlooked when it comes to web developers. Usually web developers are focused on design and making your website look pretty. They're not always focused on the plumbing and the more technical side of things. And so when we build a website or when we look at a website, tracking is super important, because if you're not tracking things on your site, then you don't really know what's happening on your website. And so it's impossible to know how to improve it or if your website's even working for you. So I would say that the first thing you should do is make sure that your tracking is set up on your website. And the three things that we track on all of our websites are form submissions, so people filling out the contact form, calls. So whenever someone calls on one of our websites, we know exactly where they came from. And then web chats. If you do chats on your site, having the chats come through analytics or something like that is very important. And just to navigate out of here really quick, I want to show you what tracking looks like on your site. So this is a platform called Google Analytics. Can everybody see this? You want me to zoom in? Let me know if you want me to zoom in anymore. So what Google Analytics is it is a free tool that Google provides you. And what you do is you put a snippet of code on your website, and now you can see everything that's taking place on your website. So for instance, this is our site. And here I can see that there is someone from Tucson, Arizona on one of my pages on my website. I can also see things like my top visited pages. So if I go over here, just today, if I go on to the 30th, I can see that I've had 215 page views, 192 unique page views, and I can see the top pages being visited on my website. And so this is important from a lot of different standpoints. I want to make sure that my top pages are relevant and that they're actually converting. And I also want to make sure that the pages that are getting traffic are pages that I want to get traffic. So if you're doing things like SEO or you're doing things like ads, it's important to know where your traffic is going. Now you can see real time. You can see, the past. If I go here to the past, let's just say 7 days, I can see how many visitors are on my pages, which pages they're going to. So I've had 2,000 page views, 1,600 unique page views. My average time on page is a minute. If I go here to conversions, I can then see how many people are actually filling out the forms here. So I've had 74 different goal completions. This is my conversion rate. So you can see that there's a lot of data here. And what's nice about this is when you're building your website, or when you're trying to improve your website, you now have data to make these decisions. There's no guessing. There's no like opinion-based changes that'll happen on your website. We like to really rely on the data. So tracking is heavily overlooked. Now, to go a little more in depth in phone tracking, there is something that is called CallRail. And what this does is it actually rotates the number on your website. So each person that comes to your website gets a unique number, and that is how it tracks all of their information. And so this is a very valuable service. It's called CallRail. This will tell you where all your phone calls are coming from, and it also record them, send you notifications that you're getting phone calls. And so a lot of attorneys, when we put this on their site, it helps them get line of sight into what's actually going on their website. And so just to show you what this looks like, this is our CallRail account. And I'll go to my company here. So in the last 30 days, these are all the phone calls that have happened on my site. So you can see like this was an 11-minute call. This was a 2-minute call, 1-minute call, 35-second call. These are scammers. I can screen those out, which is nice. 2-minute call. But what's cool about this is I can see that this call here came from Google My Business. This was a direct phone call. This was a Google My Business phone call. And so knowing this is very important because it gives you the ability to start to prioritize your different marketing sources if you are marketing. And it also lets you know that all of your efforts are working if you are trying to drive traffic to your site and get your site to convert. So for those of you who have showed up a little bit late here, we've just pretty much covered how important it is to set up your tracking foundation on your website so you know what's going on your website. And the two tools that we use to do that are Google Analytics and CallRail. And if you have any questions about these after the fact, I'll be more than happy to answer them as we go. So now we're going to get into the more tactical pieces of this webinar. What elements on your website are we looking to add and optimize? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask, is your website conversion friendly? And this is a really fun exercise. So first, I want to say that attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. Humans in the year 2000 had an attention span of 12 seconds, according to Google. This is straight from one of their presentations. Goldfish had an attention span of 9 seconds. And in 2013, humans fell below goldfish at 8 seconds. So not very pretty for us. But again, this is how most people are these days, especially when it comes to the internet and especially as they're getting all these different advertisements. You have seconds to make an impression on somebody and get your point across and show whether they're interested or not. So this next slide is going to be a fun one. I want you guys to, and if you would participate, it's a lot more fun. I want you to guess what these people do when I show you their website. Okay. I'm going to show you a picture of their site and try and just come up with an idea in 5 seconds. All right. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you could drop in chat what they do, it would be really fun. So give me some guesses. Give me some guesses. Some of the ones that I've had before are immigration. I've had tax law. Any other guesses in chat? Don't be shy. You can use the chat here. Business law, immigration. Any other guesses? Family law. Okay, interesting. All right. All right. All right. So the truth is what these people do is personal injury. Now, I want to just point out some things and then I'm going to go life insurance. Yeah. So this is a site that, again, it looks really nice. And this is a Scorpion site. So they make beautiful websites. I have nothing against Scorpion websites. I think they're really, really nice looking. But they focus so much on this site looking nice, they missed the mark on showing you what they do. And this is a personal injury attorney. Their main practice area is personal injury. And then it's like criminal and family. And so there's somewhat of a general practice, but their prioritization is personal injury. Once you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll figure that out. But when you first arrive at this site, the first thing you see is the Statue of Liberty and it says saving the American dream. So my first guess was immigration because the Statue of Liberty and the American dream. Now I could be way off. I was way off. But you want to be sure that your site says exactly what you do. And I'll go more into this on a few slides here, but just knowing what they do right off the bat is super important. Because if I was looking for a family attorney or a personal injury attorney, I would have bounced. I would be like, well, they do immigration. Let me leave and go to the next guy in line. And if I paid for somebody to get there, this was an expensive exercise to go through. Some of the things that I do like about this site, just to say a few things, the top right-hand corner, there is a phone call button, number present. There also is a call to action for begin your consultation today. Again, you don't know what type of consultation you're beginning, but you are beginning a consultation. So this next site, I want you to try and guess what these people do. This one's a little bit easier, but I want to point out a few things on this site that really illustrate the points I'm going to make in the next few slides. So these people do family law. Now, some of the things that they don't talk about on this site is where they're located. So they're running ads to this page here, and they're running ads in Tampa, which is where I'm from. And it doesn't say Tampa anywhere here, or it doesn't say it very easily to find. So the text, the little white text, maybe it says it in there. But again, people are skimming. They have very short attention spans. Some of the other things that they don't do a great job of is their headline is a little vague. It says the right choice when your family matters. That could mean a lot of things. I take it to mean family law, but again, I'm in the industry, so I assume these things, but others might not. The other thing that they don't do a good job of here is having their call to action very front and center. Their phone number is in the top left-hand corner, and it's very small. And on mobile, it's even smaller. So just a couple of things to point out on this site. And it helps to look at these things on other people's sites because you can see how you can analyze a site and how you can go about improving it. This last site is actually a site of one of our clients. And I want to point out some of the things that make this site a little bit better. Now, I know that sounds self-serving, but I just want to talk about best practices. And when we're talking about these things, we have A/B tested these layouts over years. And these general principles tend to convert versus what you've just seen. So the first thing I want to point out is right there in the headline, it says Louisiana estate planning, probate, and tax attorneys. So we have a very clear headline and a very clear location. So she serves all of Louisiana and she does those 3 practices. So immediately you know exactly what she does. The other thing that I want to point out is above the fold, meaning you don't have to scroll, you have 3 methods of contact here. You have live chat, you have a form which says free consultation, and you have a phone number in the top right-hand corner. So easy to convert. and it's easy to know what they do as far as a firm is concerned. So again, we're hitting main points here, and these simple tactics go a long way in conversion rate. Just putting a form above the fold can double or triple your conversion rate, depending on where you're getting your traffic from. And to put that into context, let's say you're getting 10 leads a month from your website. If you just move the form to the top of the page, you could be getting 20 or 30 leads from your site. It's that powerful to have these elements in the right spot. So again, I'm going to talk about each one of these now individually. So the first thing is make sure you have a clear headline on the homepage. So from a prioritization standpoint, I would put my most profitable practice area first, or the main practice area that I am trying to prioritize in that moment. So like, let's say you're trying to hire a new attorney for a different practice area and you need to shift some stuff around, maybe put that practice area there, or you make the most money on divorce, or you make the most money on estate plan, whatever it is. You want to prioritize your main practice area first. So the people that are getting there that want that practice area see that right away. It's harder to convert on people when you appear to be a generalist. Now you might be turning away people that are looking for other services, but again, it's a prioritization thing. What do you want the most of? And is the headline clear? So I know a lot of companies and a lot of branding companies like to put really cool headlines or really, creative headlines that don't necessarily tell you what you do. It's something that's maybe near and dear to you, or it's a cool branding tactic. But again, you're trying to get leads, you're trying to close business. I would prioritize branding way down the line, unless you're making, you have tons of traffic and you're getting tons of leads and it's not really a priority. Then you can work on branding. But again, I would address their concern immediately on the page, because people have short attention spans and you're going to lose them if you don't get their interest right away. So clear headline is one of the big things. The next thing that I would say is very important, and I've talked about this a little bit, is having the form above the fold. So above the fold is a term that's thrown around a lot. And what this means is you don't have to scroll to see the information. So if you think about your website as real estate, the above the fold real estate is the most valuable real estate. And there are actually tools out there to show you how many people scroll past this. And it does drop off significantly the further down the page you go. They're called heat maps if you're interested in looking at that. But above the fold is important because it gets their attention right away and it's in their line of sight. Now, in this example here, we have a lot of things above the fold. So the form is one of the most important, like I said, because it makes it easy for them to convert. They don't have to find the form to get in contact with you. They can get in contact with you right there on the spot. The other things that are above the fold are the phone numbers, the headline, any other value propositions that you want to showcase here. So free consults, 50 years in business, whatever it is, you want all that stuff, all that powerful, meaty stuff above the fold so people don't have to hunt for it. Make it easy for people to convert and know what you do. So form above the fold is one of the most important things you could do. Again, very, very effective. We have A/B tested this so many times. We put a form above the fold on most of the pages on the site. Some pages don't get it, but most of them do. The next thing is having a phone number clear and clickable. So you want the phone number above the fold, obviously, because you want people to call. But another hack that you could do is making sure that that phone number is clickable. So when you click it, it actually triggers a phone call. That may seem somewhat obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. Either they link the phone number to the contact us page. In fact, I believe Justia sites do this. And other people just leave the phone number there. And what this does for the end user is they have to copy that phone number and paste it into their phone application, or they have to remember it, or they just get frustrated and they leave. I know it sounds extreme, but this is how people are. They're always for that instant gratification, or give me what I want right now. That's just how people are. So again, having the form and the phone number above the fold and having the phone number clickable is very important. And we go as far as having this on mobile be a button so they know that it's clickable. You can also put here, and again, it sounds ridiculous, but you can spell these things out, click here to call. So that way there's no doubt in their mind that the button is clickable and they can call once they click it. You're taking all the guesswork out of converting. So we're making it easy as possible for them to turn into a lead. That is the ultimate goal. So this next one is more of a long-term play, and it's also more of like an SEO type play, but it is a very effective tactic. And this is creating location/practice area specific pages. So in the case of, us here in Tampa, if we were a divorce firm, we would want to have divorce lawyer in Tampa, child custody lawyer in Tampa, paternal rights, attorney in Tampa. And we would do that for every relevant keyword in every relevant location. So after we did all of Tampa, then we would go on to St. Pete. We would do divorce lawyer in St. Pete, child custody lawyer in St. Pete, and so on and so forth. And eventually these pages will start to rank, because how Google ranks websites, and in general, their ranking algorithm takes into account relevance and distance. It takes into account a lot of other things, but those are two big ones. And so the page is relevant because we're using the target keyword, and distance is important because we're using the city name. So Google picks up on all these contexts, and it can then rank your site based on these pages. The other thing that you can do, because you're not going to add all these pages at once, is you can add maybe a page a month or 2 pages every month. And what this does is it creates more pages for Google to index on a regular basis. And this is pretty much like your pulse check, like Google's checking your pulse and saying, oh, these people are adding to their website. They're alive. They're doing right things. They have location specific pages. Great. They're helping us, and we can serve them as a valuable resource to our clients, because Google's main goal is to serve the best answer to the end user as possible. That's the only way Google exists. If Google didn't give you good answers, the phrase Google it wouldn't be around. You wouldn't go to Google because they don't really serve you anything. But their main objective is to serve the best possible answer to the end user. And so as a result, they are all about relevance. They're all about location specifics. That's why they call it local SEO, because people want local resources, especially when it comes to attorneys. They want a divorce attorney in Tampa, or they want a divorce attorney in Dallas, whatever it is. So again, adding these pages will go a long way in helping your website rank. And ultimately, if you're doing all these other things that I've talked about, as you're getting traffic, it has a much better chance of converting. This is actually a little tangent I want to go off on. If you do the best SEO in the world and you have the best traffic in the world, but your site doesn't convert, then it's useless. You can have tons of traffic coming through to your site and you're converting at 1 to 2%. You're really not getting the most bang for your buck there. If you're converting at 10, 15%, you're literally converting 10 to 15 times higher than a website that doesn't convert. So again, we're doing these things to get traffic, but we also want that traffic to convert. So setting the pages up correctly, like I've talked about, can go a really long way. So the next thing I want to talk about, and I know a lot of attorneys don't take these seriously, but credibility boosters is what we call them, or badges, do go a real long way. Now, sometimes people have these and sometimes they don't, but in general, they make the site look beefier. They make it look more credible. And some clients or potential clients of yours do take these seriously, because they'll look you up, they'll find these sites and they'll see that you're listed there. It's like, oh, these must be reputable people. And so having badges are great. So things like AVO, Super Lawyers, Bar Associations, Top 100, no matter the associations or awards you have, make sure they're showcased on your site. It's an easy win. It's an easy credibility booster to have yourself associated with these companies. We love Google reviews too. So not only do we put the little badge there, but we'll also put the reviews themselves on the site, because again, those are very big credibility boosters, because someone else has gone out of their way to say, hey, these people are doing a good job. So credibility boosters are huge. Not only do we put these on the sites, but when we advertise for attorneys, we also put these on the landing pages. They're at the top of every one of our attorneys' landing pages if they have them, because again, it boosts that credibility, which ultimately boosts the conversion rate and ultimately can boost your ability to close people because they see you as a credible resource. So big hack here. Again, super easy to do because most people have these, and a lot of these sites are free. So all you got to do is sign up to them and then just use their badge. So this next one is really, really important. And I would say that this is another one that's heavily overlooked. So most of the time when like a web development company or when you're looking at your site, you're typically looking at it on your computer because that's where you're working and that's where most of your research is being done. But the majority of the web traffic these days is mobile. And so it's crucial that your site can perform on mobile. So there are a few quick tips here. So you can see that I have a page there on the right-hand side, desktop view, and then I have a page on the left-hand side, and the real estate gets taken up substantially on a mobile phone. So you have to really prioritize what you want above the fold on mobile. So some of the things that we prioritize are, again, the headline. We want it to be super relevant and super clear what's going on that page as soon as possible. And the other thing that we prioritize, because it's mobile, rather than the form being front and center, we prioritize the phone number. So that way they can call. The majority of your calls are going to come from mobile phones because they can click to call as long as you make that feature available. And so I'm going to navigate away here just really quick, just to like show you an example of, I'll do divorce attorney in Tampa, and I'll just go to some random site. Let's look at this site. All right, so this is a nice site. They got plenty of badges. Look at that. So if we go here, a cool way to look at your site on mobile while still being on your desktop computer is if you're on Google Chrome and you right click it and you go to inspect, and then you click this little phone icon here. This will then pull up the different phone sizes that your site will look like on. So like here, for instance, I can go to an iPhone 12 Pro and see what does this site look like on an iPhone. And in a lot of cases, if you're not careful with your site, it can look kind of messed up. Things can stack weird. Headlines can disappear. These people have done a good job with their site and having it be mobile responsive. But again, it's a valuable exercise to go through. And just to kind of double down on this idea of testing your site from mobile, if you go here to analytics, a cool thing that you can do, let me find it really quick, is you go here to mobile and you go to overview, and now you can see who is actually coming to your site and what device they're on. And you can actually go a step further and go to devices. And now it'll actually tell you what device they're coming from. So for instance, on our website, the Apple iPhone is the most common thing. Next is an Apple iPad. Next is an Apple iPhone 11. This is not set. That means they don't know. Apple iPhone 13 Pro Max. I guess that's the new one. These people are doing great for themselves. But you can see, so Apple is huge. Samsung next, Galaxy. So if I'm going to my site here, I want to make sure that on every Apple product, my site looks good. Let's go to an iPhone SE, a little smaller. All right, my site looks good. It's mobile responsive. So I would definitely encourage you to go through and look at your site on mobile. And again, how you do that is you come to a Google Chrome browser, you right click, you go to inspect, and then you click this little mobile button here. So this is what your site will look like on mobile. Super valuable exercise. And again, let's just say that you're not getting the conversions you want from your website. First thing we do is we go through and audit the site. We just look at it as if we were a consumer. I'll pull it up on my phone. I'll pull it up on this. I'll pull it up on different desktop sizes. So like, for instance, what that means is I have a really wide monitor here, but what does this look like if my monitor was smaller like this? How does my site look now? Things will stack differently based on who's built your website and if they've done a good job making it responsive on all sizes, because it's not just one size, it's a whole bunch of different sizes that you have to account for. So again, mobile responsive is huge when it comes to converting people on your website and getting phone calls. Yes, there will be a replay. I just saw your comment for sure. I'll be sending out a replay and I'll be posting this on YouTube. And so the last thing I want to talk about here is linking your site to Google My Business. So this is, again, not necessarily about your website, but ultimately the goal of your website is to bring you more traffic and bring you more clients. And so a website can look beautiful and it can convert great, but if you're not getting traffic, then again, you're missing one piece of the puzzle. You kind of need this, all working in conjunction. You need to have conversion-friendly website and you need to have traffic coming to your website. And so an easy way to get traffic is by linking your Google My Business profile to your website. And I've done plenty of webinars and there's a lot of things on our YouTube and different resources that we have on how to actually go through and build your Google My Business page and optimize it. But the reason I say link your Google My Business page to your site is because Google does prioritize showing the Google My Business profiles, or what's now called Google Business Profile. And so when you have the little website button there, like in the picture, people will click that and go to your site. And you can actually see how many people are visiting your site when you build your Google My Business profile, and you can look at the insights. And excuse me, you'll see that a lot of people will click that and go to your site from Google My Business. And so this is a way to harvest the traffic that you're already going to get, but rather than sending it to your profile, you can send it to your website, get those people on your website interacting with you and seeing, what you offer. And then there's a whole bunch of other benefits that come from that from an SEO standpoint too, because now you're getting traffic. So this is an easy win to kind of tie it all up in a nice bow, is making sure that you're getting traffic to your site, because ultimately that's what's going to help it rank. So from like a long-term SEO perspective, if Google is not seeing people on your website and they're not seeing people interact with your website, then they're not going to value it as a resource and they're not going to bump you up the rankings. So again, Google's main mission is to see you as a resource, make sure that you're providing answers to people. And the way that they do that is by seeing them interact on your website, take action on your website, and then they begin to bump you up the rankings. So you need traffic for that to happen. And a way to get free traffic, because people will look you up as you start to do business with people, is to have a Google My Business profile. And again, there's a lot of stuff I talk about on this on like YouTube and a few of our other webinars. But this is just a quick overview of like one way to get free traffic on your site. So that's the end of this presentation. Pretty short and sweet, but again, the elements that I've talked about here are huge. I selected these for a reason. When we do A/B tests for people, or when we test different layouts, these are the things that we manipulate in order to get the most lift out of an A/B test. And just so you guys know what I'm talking about, an A/B test is where you send half the visitors to one version of a page and half the visitors to another, and you see which one converts higher. So for instance, I can move a headline up, or I can change a headline, or I can add a button, and then I can test one without those changes and see which one produces more leads. And then from there, I can make an intelligent, data-driven decision on, okay, when I add a button over here, it actually converts way higher than when I don't have a button. And so again, these changes that we've talked about in here, we've been testing this stuff for years and years, and these simple concepts hold true for years and years. I don't want to say they're evergreen because things change, but for the most part, the simple ideas, clickable phone call, simple page that says exactly what you do, those are just logical things that you can do to improve your conversion rate. So anyone have any questions about their site, or if you want me to pull up your site and say, hey, these are some things you can change, or this is what I would do, or this is what I would test, because ultimately I want to put one more thing out there for you guys. People will give you their opinion whenever you ask for it, and it doesn't mean it's right. I know that sounds bad, but I would always, always, always test what people are saying. So a lot of times, like, you'll ask your wife, hey, how does this site look? And she'll give you her opinion, and you'll ask a friend and they'll give you their opinion. But really, unless they're like a super marketing guru, and even if they are, they should tell you to test it. And that's what you want from people when you get an opinion. Say, I think you should do this, but you should test it. So again, if any of you want me to take a look at your site, or you want to schedule a call with me after the fact to look at your site, I'd be more than happy to do that. And that's pretty much the presentation. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. If you guys want us to build your website, you can reach out to me. We're actually going back into website building mode for people, doing SEO and PPC. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to schedule a call with me and we can talk about how that works. If there are no other questions, I'll sign off here, and I will be sending out the replay. All right. Looks like there are no questions. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and look for the replay. And I really do appreciate it. Have a great night.